Nice. Power of words and thoughts. You know, our thoughts and everything have such power. Like yesterday, I asked and the rain was stopped for me. And, because I know we have the authority over the weather. And it was pouring down at 6. And I just said, I went, prayed, got straight with God, and with all due respect, please stop the rain. And at 6:30 it was still raining, but I went ahead and got dressed and walked out the door. And by the time I got out here, it was just a light. I couldn't film anything because it was sprinkling, but it stopped. It was amazing. And it's like, that's why the bad guys always put stuff on mainstream media, so they can get you to believe it, because you'll create it. Have you ever wondered why Sundays are usually sunny? Because we've named it Sunday, and that's just in everybody's mind. Anytime you picture a Sunday, you always picture a nice, peaceful, sunny day. And for the most part, Sundays are that way. And it's because it's in the masses, the collective consciousness are all expecting that. It's like that's why they keep trying to get us all together to meditate for a few minutes, because it's so powerful. It changed the planet. Takes the leash away from the enemy. Right, coyotes? So, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Words and thoughts, very powerful. See, that's the thing. That was the reason for Jesus, was the authority of the planet was lost by Adam and Eve eating the apple, whatever the apple was. I don't care. And then I've heard it said if Adam had not eaten the apple, he would have been forgiven, and he'd still be alive now. None of us would be here. But it was a love story. It wasn't stupid Adam. What it was a love story. We don't know how long Adam was on this planet before Eve came along. He probably was very lonely. And finally, he got Eve and was massively in love with her. And he knew when God said, if you eat it, you're surely going to die. He knew God didn't mess around. You're going to die. He didn't, it might take 1,000 years, but you're going to die. Otherwise, it would not have died. But anyway, he ate of the apple too, because if he thought if she was going to die, he wanted to die as well. So it's a love story. You may have never heard that. And also, Adam was given the authority of the keys to planet Earth, authority over the entire planet. God could not do anything on the planet anymore because he gave the authority to Adam, and he can't take it back. Gifts that God gives you cannot be taken back. So he was given that authority, and then by his act, the devil tricked him and got him to do what he did, which in the spirit world means you lose, and had to give up. He had to give up the authority, and it shifted over to the devil. So he had and still has the authority over the earth, but we can take it back one at a time. But so Adam lost the authority of the planet that day, but God had a backup plan, and it was called Jesus. And the reason for Jesus is Adam had pure blood, and at the time they were wanting to get authority back to man. There were no men on the earth with pure blood, so that's why it had to be an immaculate conception. They're saying that Mary might have even been born immaculately, so she would have been spotless as well. But the blood of the Father in a baby situation does not mix with the mother's blood. So your baby is always born with the male, the father's blood in him only, period. So God had to come up with the planet to get the authority back to have a man with perfect blood. And so that's why Jesus had to be born, because he had perfect blood. And then he had to go about winning back the authority. And the way it works in the spirit world, he lived a sin-free life, apparently, which I can't imagine that, but apparently did, and then died. When you're living a sin-free life, you won't die. You'll just live. And I think the fact that the life was taken by the crucifixion thing, I don't know, it's complicated. But died unjustly, let's put it that way. Didn't deserve it, that kind of thing. That was the single act that was in the spirit world, what you had to do and to win the authority back. And so Jesus, that very day, which this is Passover time right now, we're talking about, that very day, he won back for mankind that authority, except for, there's a caveat. Now you have to believe in Jesus to gain that authority, and that's pretty simple. You just believe Jesus is God's son, and then believe God raised him from the dead. That's the only two requirements, and you're in. Then you have the authority of the entire planet, and one of those things is the authority over the weather. And that's why it says that Satan, had he known what was going to happen after Jesus was unjustly killed. Cooper! If he had known that it was going to be available to have, because basically when you get born again, you're like Jesus, and every time somebody's born again, they're like little Jesuses all over the planet. Little Jesuses everywhere. And he said if he would have known, he would not have crucified the Lord of glory. Satan would not have had Jesus crucified, because it would have been much better just to have one Jesus than billions of them. So that's what that story is all about. And apparently Jesus did not even know that he was going to be able to be in all people who believe. He didn't know that until he actually died. So some of the things he said before he left doesn't seem to make sense. But if you think that he did not know what was going to happen, then stuff makes sense. I think he said, I don't know, he made some statements like he was going to be back in 7 days or something. I don't know. But anyway, you have the authority of the planet. You can stop the rain. And just go forward. Step out. Put your toe in the Red Sea and watch it part. Okay?